Welcome back to East Texas Now. Joined with us at the desk here, we have UT Tyler Professor of Accounting, I believe. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, Jennifer Reynolds, welcome to the show. Your first time being here in the newsroom.
Thank you so much.
Of course, absolutely. So, of course, tax season underway. I guess it's called filing season.
Either one. Most people actually call it tax season.
All right,
Yeah.
so it can be used interchangeably.
It sure can.
Okay, good. I don't know a whole lot about taxes, obviously, so I want to make sure that I get the verbiage right. But I don't think a lot of East Texans know a whole lot about taxes either, hence why you're here, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, is tax season or filing taxes, is that something that you cover a lot in your classes?
Well, we do. We cover all the laws that you have to know in order to correctly file your taxes and correctly plan for legally paying as little taxes as possible.
That leads me to some of the nitty-gritty questions that I want to jump into, right? So first of all, tax season already underway. Started at the end of last month?
Sure did. Started January 29th. That's when IRS opened up for filing.
Mm-hmm. And then goes to?
This year, May 15th. I'm so sorry, April 15th.
April 15th,
It's usually
okay.
right around April 15th, but if it falls on a weekend, they may
Right.
push it. But April 15th is a Monday this year.
Oh, okay. Now, I always read something about like extensions, 6-month extensions. What does that mean?
Well, there is an automatic extension to
Okay.
file if you can't get your paperwork together in time. No problem. The IRS doesn't mind you filing an extension. You've got 6 months. But I think one of the big misconceptions is that if you owe taxes and you don't have the money to pay, that you get a 6-month extension to pay. And
Right.
that's not true. You actually still have to pay your taxes by the April 15th deadline. So you need to do some sort of estimate. And then if you need to actually extend to file, you can do that.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. So there are some exceptions, but something that you need to check in with probably a professional before you decide that that applies to you.
I think so, yes. That's always a good idea.
Yeah, speaking of checking in with a professional, I know that there's so many different ways that you can file taxes, right? Be it on an app, there's a bunch of different apps that, say
Yeah.
just a couple clicks, whether you walk in person, whether you have a CPA do it, like right up next to you. So is one better than the other?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I think it depends on your specific situation. I think the more complicated of a situation you have, if you own your own business or sold a lot of things last year, a CPA is always a good idea. They're an expert in their field. They are kept abreast on the latest developments if Congress changes something last minute. But yeah, if you just have a job and a W-2, there's a lot of really inexpensive or even free ways to file on your own.
That brings me right to my next point. What is an example of something that you can be qualified for to file for free?
So typically it's governed by what your adjusted gross income is. So somewhere a little below $80,000, if you make that, you can go to IRS's website, type in free file, and they actually give you access to professional tax software. So you're not having to do it with a pencil and paper by hand, but you can file your taxes for free using different, it could be Tax Act or H&R Block, but the same kind of software that other people are paying for.
And there's a lot of people that say, hey, it's tax season, I'm gonna get money back, so I'm gonna go buy my car, I'm gonna go put a down payment on a house or something because it's coming in. But I know that a lot of tax professionals or people that really understand filing in tax season says, hey, hold off on those, don't put those in. So I know that normally it's about a 3-week wait, right? But you don't wanna really bank on that.
I don't think that you should. I don't think that's wise. Go ahead and wait. It's 21 days or less. There are a lot of places that will offer you a loan against that, but they might charge a lot of fees or interest. So 21 days or less, sometimes it's 14 days. That's not too long to wait, just to be sure.
No, not at all. I think we can all wait just about 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
There is a ton of new items that happen. There's changes every year that, at least for me personally, when I walk into my tax office, that's when I learn about exactly what those changes are, right? But you kind of want to be prepared heading in so that you know exactly, maybe you're going to get a little bit more back than you think, maybe you get a little bit less back. So there's a couple different ones. What are the big ones that stick out to you the most?
Sure, I think that's so important too, even as we go into the year of 2024 to know what might be available for you this year. One big change is the electric vehicle credit. The change happened last year. You can get up to $7,500 credit. That means just real money back on an electric vehicle. But as of January 1st of this year, 2024, you can actually get that credit at the time you buy the car. So you can transfer the credit to the car dealership and effectively pay $7,500 less this year rather than waiting all the way until next year when you file your return. So that's a pretty big change for people if they're looking for an EV. It's a big change for car dealerships. They have to register with the IRS. There's a tool online that they need to go ahead and get set up with so that they can accept that transfer as well.
Yeah, it seems like this year there's a lot of electricity or electric stipulations, right? Not just for cars, but there's also something about energy efficient home improvement as well, right?
For sure. I think this is a neat one, especially even if you didn't do anything last year. This is a 10-year running one. We've done different things like this in the past, but there's something special now that you can re-up this credit each year. In the past, it was once you had a $500 credit, you could no longer take it anymore. This one is up to $1,200 each year, and it's things like if you put in energy efficient doors or windows in your home, even AC units, boiler units, things like that apply. So something maybe checking out a list before you buy certain things to look at, but yeah, that's a good one.
Now, there's so many different numbers when it comes to filing your taxes, so many numbers and letters, and they're all short for sayings that I know somebody knows, but it's definitely not me, right? And so there's a couple of them that I wanted to break down. First being a 1099K threshold. That's a buzzword. I don't know what that is.
There's been a lot of talk about that the last couple of years. So more and more people are selling things on online marketplaces like Facebook, what have you. And there's been buzz about these third-party vendors are supposed to send you a 1099. In other words, they're reporting that you made that much money this year. And it's been $600, a pretty low threshold. Well, at the last minute, the IRS has changed that for 2023. So now those companies don't have to send you a 1099 unless you sold over $20,000 and over 200 transactions. However, they've warned that a lot of these companies are still going to send you one if it's over $600 just because they had already programmed their systems to do that. And that's one of those cases where maybe you do need help from a CPA if you sold a lot of items.
Now, does it have to be sold? Because I know that there was a lot of talk back and forth. You know, people use, for example, something like Venmo to pay their roommate their electricity bill every month, and it's $100 every month, here you go, which looks like, a sale of goods. Right. So could that be something that meets the threshold?
Yeah, you should not be receiving a 1099K if you were just doing friends and family payments. Okay. That's why Venmo now has the turn on a purchase button if you bought something from someone. And even then, just because I sold my old dining room table for $100 doesn't mean I have to pay taxes on that income because I get to recover what I paid for that dining room table. And usually we're selling things for less. So again, I think that's where a tax professional can help you not pay taxes on things if you're not supposed to be. So if you're someone that utilizes those kinds of places a lot, I think it might be worth a tax professional helping you.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know through my own friends and family, we've had a lot of conversations of, I don't know, like, do we need to do it a different way? Because, so it makes sense, and it helps put a lot of fears to rest, I know. So another one of the buzzwords, right, CTC. I'm not sure what is a CTC and how does it affect this year's taxes?
Yeah, so anyone with a child probably knows what the CTC is. It's a child tax credit. It's the only time our kids help us make money. So Congress actually recently, the House last week, just passed a bill that would let some people receive more of a refund back for the child tax credit. However, it still has to get passed through the Senate. They do plan to make it retroactive to 2023 if it passes. So a lot of people are saying, maybe I should wait and not file my return and let's see what the Senate says. However, the IRS has come out and said, no, don't wait, especially if you think you're going to get a refund. Go ahead and file, get your refund. If Congress completely passes this, they're not going to make anyone amend their return or change it. IRS will simply send you a refund. And we saw something similar to that right after COVID.
Yes, I do remember that. I have 2 children of my own, and I remember I had them right in the perfect time for after that COVID for that child tax credit. And so it's interesting to continue to get the latest on exactly where that child tax credit is, and to know that even if you file now, you're not missing out should anything happen, that it will be retrospective. Well, that is all of my questions for understanding. I understand my taxes a whole lot better through this conversation. But is there anything else that you want to make sure that those people from East Texas know during filing season?
You know, one thing that I always try to plug and talk to everyone about is even if you think you don't owe any taxes, you might look into filing your return because you could have had withholding from a job where you can be getting your money back if you don't owe it. Or you could be getting money back based on the earned income tax credit or child tax credit. These are called refundable credits, meaning even if you don't owe taxes, the government may give you this money back. So I think it's always worth taking a look or asking a friend around, even if you don't feel like you have money to hire a tax professional. There are ways to find help and not miss out on that money the government owes you.
Perfect. I'm so glad that you were able to add that. Well, Jennifer, it's been great having you here. I'm glad that we had this chat here for your first time on the East Texas Now Desk. Don't be a stranger. Come back anytime.
Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Nice to talk to you as well. From there, we are going to go ahead, take a short break. We'll get right back to news coverage when we return. Stay tuned. You're watching East Texas Now.